Previously on Castaway...
Contraband heaven.
Ooh, lovely things, Smirnoff, Benson and Hedges.
Castaway's smuggling in contraband created a rift in the community.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Then Roger and Sandy decided to leave the island and go to the shops themselves.
The next thing is to see if we can find some coffee.
Once discovered, it became a major issue.
There's no point in sitting there laughing, Roger.
I'm really upset and disappointed by this.
The debate continues. Two weeks later, most of the community have forgiven Sandy and Roger, but the event has galvanised almost half the castaways into returning to what they feel is the true spirit of the project.
We're not going to have any parcels to any visitors that come here. We're going to be pleasant to them and we're going to be nice, but we're not going to drink anything with them.
Drink alcohol.
We're not going to smoke with them.
Discourage them.
We're not having any contraband.
People are going to be slagging us off for it because we are standing for what we believe. Let them do it, and we will defend each other, whoever's involved in this. And if people want to slag us off, let them. We've just got the guts to stand up and say, this is it now.
So if I can go to, or you can come to me and say you're backsliding, I can come to you and say, remember that conversation?
Absolutely.
You know,
That's why
without any acrimony.
Yeah.
That's the whole
point of acting together, isn't it?
That's the reason, so that there's more than one of us.
I mean, Saturday the 13th of May, Castaway 2000 for me is just beginning. I suppose it's a boat.
Almost immediately, their resolve is put to the test when the no visitors rule is challenged.
Hello.
We're dodgy, and we've been playing in the Highlands, and we did 6 days in the Highlands. We came to the island to see if we can play some songs for you. We got our guitars, and we got some sweets. And we just wanted to come and play some songs for you.
Hello, how do you do? Hi there. Hello, how do you do? Hi there, you've come a long way, haven't you? Yeah.
It was coincidental, I suppose unfortunate for Dodgy, that we were having a meeting just as they arrived.
A band arriving on the beach, it's just not normal behaviour, you know, and how can we even attempt to think that we're part of the Castaway project? And I know people would say, well, we're not anyway and the whole thing's artificial, but how can we even attempt to do it if this is happening all the time?
If you choose not to be part of it, great, but I don't want my right taken away. I really don't want it.
Hands up those here who are in favour of letting them play.
Colin would be as well.
Colin, Monica.
It was decided that those who wanted to see them would go and see them playing in the schoolhouse, and those who didn't wouldn't.
And then suddenly we got a telephone call from Lion Television going, I've just been rung by Radio 1. These people are broadcasting live from Tarnsay. What on earth is going on?
We thought they've got mobile phones and maybe that's the way they're going to do it.
And as soon as we knew that, we knew, right, they've come for a cheap publicity. We better put a stop to this.
We've just been informed that you're planning to broadcast this live on Radio 1.
What?
Is that right? That's what we've been told.
No, not live.
How are we going to do that?
Well, are you going to broadcast it later then?
No.
Where's our recording equipment?
We are sick of being used for cheap publicity with people.
Go back with our tails between our legs.
Take care.
Not everyone is glad to see them go.
Oh, it's a great shame. We could have had a great night.
Come and save me!
No sooner have they dispatched one set of visitors when the next lot arrive bearing unsolicited whiskey galore.
No.
Do you leave the boxes on the boat, please,
don't bring anything over.
Can you not take them
Please
off?
don't bring those over here.
Yeah, positive. Anyway.
It's the first time anyone's ever come to my doorstep and offered me 2 cases of whiskey. And I have to turn around and say, no, thank you.
No, 95% of us and 90% of us didn't want to accept this stuff.
There's a whole spectrum of people here, and not all of those people will stick to the rules. Some will actively try and break them.
Oh, we could do a barter with them. I mean, that's not beyond.
For
some nice English, we can give them some nice lamb.
We're talking about trading half a lamb for it.
Trading half a lamb?
Ah, could we trade?
Yeah, no problem. I mean,
That's one way some of the people in the community might go for it.
To the boxing ring.
going to get the lamp, Cole?
But as more castaways arrive, there's a growing feeling that they shouldn't accept the whiskey at all.
It's frustrating when people turn up and they know that they're using you as a PR stunt.
I would expect most people here to have enough integrity or enough intelligence to see that and not accept it.
Well, I don't have that huge mistrust of people, Tam, and I'm really glad I don't have it.
What you do with Lion?
Yeah, I do with Lion, because I have cause.
But I don't have that mistrust with people, but we're in a situation where you've got to be careful. Ron, just because somebody talks back to you, don't walk off. He has to have his viewpoint, he has to shove it in people's faces, and yet, proof in the pudding, he will not listen to anyone else, and if somebody says it back to him, he walks off. So it just about proves it, really. But by the looks of it, for the next couple of months, I'm going to have it rubbed in my face, but I just can't stand it anymore.
I've just got off!
Oh, yeah. Well, that was my name.
Pleased to meet you, Trevor.
Mary.
Mary.
Pleased to meet you.
Hi there.
It all looks good stuff. So what's happening then, big mate?
Well, it's going to a community decision.
Is it?
Yeah.
I suppose, you know, you've got to look at the whole community for the change. God, this is painful to say. I don't even mean this, you know, I don't even mean this. I'm just lying through my teeth on this one. Isn't times like this you say, community?
There's probably two camps emerging at the moment. Those that want to do with little and those that want to have everything. And you know, as I said, most of the time I can be tolerant. I can think, well, people, you know, are here for different reasons, etc., etc. But I think it's a bit rich when you get some people being so selfish because they know they're, well, effectively they're deliberately hurting and spoiling it for others.
There is no community. There's a group of people living here, 35 of us, according to however the hell we want to live.
But within a few days, a crisis caused by the forces of nature draws them together. A water shortage.
Please, thank you.
No water.
What sort of island's this?
I just want a cup of coffee.
Oh, there's no coffee.
Yeah, there's a lock about half a mile that way.
Should we go to the lock?
Yeah.
Have you got any driftwood for a fire?
Yeah, I've got the driftwood. Yeah. Thank you for your cooperation.
Come on.
The stream that powers their hydroelectric system has dried up, and even the lock supplying their drinking water is running low. The level has dropped 5 inches in the last 4 days.
It is genuinely just a puddle now.
It's ironic, really, that here we are in the Western Isles of Scotland, where it rains and rains and rains, and we don't have enough water to drink, and we don't have enough water to power our electricity needs.
The castaways are doing everything they can to save water.
Look, that's some knickers, Kira.
Felix, do you mind?
Michael's socks are actually crusty, and the last time I'd done a washing, I had to keep the same water in for about 10 washes, and it was like glue.
I was fortunate enough to have a shower today, which probably sounds quite funny to some people, but we have had a lot of water shortages, even in view of the amount of rain that we've had. So showers, particularly for the adults, have been limited.
It gets to the point where you're getting a bit, oof, you know, is that me or is that the cows?
Doing my washing by foot in a tin bath in a polytunnel because there's a water shortage and I need to water the plants with the old water. Might just get in and have a bath as well, actually. May as well kill 3 birds with 1 stone, eh?
Well, there was a day last week when we weren't allowed to have a cup of tea in the afternoon tea break because the water was needed to cook the vegetables. And that's a bit strict. That's a bit strict, isn't it? Can't have a cup of tea, not having that.
The islanders decide to run a pipe from a bigger lock a kilometre away.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yes, Dad.
But first, they have to get it there. Ben's in charge of the project.
See, Ben's not daft. Ben's right at the front, you see. Go on, Ben! Henry and Mike have got the dodgy bit. I'm not doing it,
down there.
It's like Twister.
How's your leadership skills?
I've got to go. I'm being told to move on. Does that sum it up?
There's 4 people who all have different ideas of what they're doing.
It's a case of the blind leading the blind, I think, really. That's what I'd say. But it's quite fun.
We're having a giggle.
Yeah.
We're going to try pulling it that way. So
That
going
way?
against, I know, the different way to where we want, but we think it will pull the twizzles out.
By early June, the rules of the project are again an issue. The production team visit the island to demand that the castaways sign a letter agreeing they will abide by the original rules. Breaking them will be considered grounds for throwing someone off the island.
Well, my attitude to it is that if there are rules, there's no point having any rules unless they're enforceable. What the BBC have asked for is what I understood we were undertaking. And I, for one, am very happy to sign it.
No parcels, no radios, no contraband. Basically taking away, as far as I can see, some of the fun and some of the light relief.
And that's what it's all about to me.
There's a suspicion by some that Peter has deeper reasons for wanting to uphold the rules.
You want certain people off.
No, I
I'm
don't.
sorry.
No,
you do, Peter.
No, I
and
got
that's
to
what
respond
I'm
to that.
upset about. I'll sign that. I'll abide by those rules, but I won't victimise somebody to get them off. That's what I'm upset about.
I don't care who is on or who is off according to the rules. I have no personal beef against Ron whatsoever. I just think that in the case of these you can call me a liar. In the case of these rules, I think that you have, as I understood them at Windermere, I think you've blown them.
I want no one to have any rule, Peter.
All right, fair enough.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. They're stupid rules. I will not abide by them.
A week later, the community agrees to abide by the rules as long as they themselves can police them.
These rules will become effective immediately.
Sandy Colbeck drafts the new agreement, but Ron refuses to accept it.
I will not pass judgment on the people I live with here. I don't want to do it.
It's ironic that Sandy's the first person to break the rules. Her brother from the States, who she hasn't seen for 7 years, turns up unexpectedly on the island.
When I saw him and I realised it was him, I couldn't believe it. I thought I was seeing things. And so I went to jelly and I sort of couldn't move and I got stuck and I couldn't talk or anything for a few minutes.
Even though Sandy knows she'll be punished, she's not prepared to turn her brother away.
I thought rules were made to be broken. That was it, I didn't care. I'm very much aware of how finite life is. When you're 25, everything is infinite. But you begin to recognise that, you know, life does come to an end when you get to our sort of age. And I think you value your contacts with your family and your close friends more. You don't take them for granted anymore because you're suddenly aware that, you know, life's quite fragile, really. And anything can happen at any time.
The new judicial process is put to the test sooner than expected.
The accused has a right to a defence. Based on the evidence submitted, the panel of 5 will reach a decision. If the complainant is proven, a suitable penalty will be implemented.
After a brief deliberation, they come up with a punishment.
Maybe we should think along those lines of something that is also something for the community.
Like the sewing.
The
sewing.
Yeah.
I like that one, yeah. And we could have an open week, a week where, okay, this week everyone
you bring your stuff
to Sandy.
A maximum of 2 items per person, bearing in mind that some people might not have anything.
And that's kids as well.
Yeah, kids as well.
Yeah, but if you haven't got anything, trade off with people if they've got more.
Are you happy with that? I mean, do you think it's in any way unfair?
No, not at all.
Right.
No. No, I'm here because...
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. So, all agreed?
Yeah.
Done and dusted?
Yeah. So we'll basically communicate this to the rest, everyone else, that they can give their mending to Sandy.
While Sandy gets on with her hard labour, other work continues on the island. The pigs that were brought over earlier in the year are now beginning to be slaughtered. Today, it's the turn of Heathcliff.
He'll be in his stable at the side, and he, does get a lot of attention. He gets a piece of chocolate.
Take your time.
Hang on, boys. You'll do fine. Right, Carl. Yeah.
Right, I'm going to leave you to do this one all on your own.
Oh, right.
It's silly keeping all these pigs just to feed them. Can't afford to do that, just to feed them and make pets of them.
It brings a question of mortality to me when I kill something, of my own mortality. And I'm sure it does to other people when they see a living thing come through a stable and that coming out the other end within a space of that.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, yes. While there's plenty of meat on the island, they're still waiting to catch their first fish. Now they've built a raft, laid out a net, and are ready to reap the rewards of their labours. Fishing's become a bit of a spectator sport.
I'd just be really worried in case there's a jellyfish just stuck to the line. Maybe there'll be fish. We just grab them.
Oh, yes! Oh, yes! Oh. Whee! The cheer goes back from the mainland. It's a super crab.
And he's trying to bite Mike. Can we not at least tell the others that we caught, like,
a big one, but it got away?
Under Colin's supervision, Patrick's relearning the skills that he picked up as a teenager when he worked as a butcher's apprentice.
It's surprising the smells, you know, and the actual feel of meat. It seems to bring, brings back memories of those carefree, youthful days.
You know, a bit of meat in your hands.
Yeah. The old butcher always used to say I had a lovely wrist action. I've learnt a lot here since I've been here as regards the butchery trade again. Slaughtering. It's made a good boss's cop. Seems strange, like, you know, feeding the pigs and then bringing them into slaughter, but, you know, I don't feel anything about it. We've had a good life and they're giving us a good meal, so I think even some of the veggies could turn when they see these sausages.
Gordon came to the island to learn about self-sufficiency, and he's determined to catch the first fish.
Gordon's fishing, Gordon's fishing, caught no fish, caught no fish. Try again tomorrow, splish, splash, splash, splish, splash, splash.
I'm still gonna catch the first sea fish. I don't care what they say, I will be the first person to catch a sea fish here.
She's a brave girl.
The fish may have got away, but the islanders are determined that their chickens won't escape.
Ouch, ouch, ow!
We're only doing it again because it wasn't done properly the first time, I think, isn't it?
Oh no, it's not their hurt. They can't do what they want to do.
If they fly away,
then we don't have any eggs.
Oh no, I hadn't thought about it.
Am I right in saying that Gordon said he was going to be the first man to catch a fish on the island?
Yep.
And he didn't, did he?
Well, no.
No. And then he said he was going to be the first man to catch a sea fish on the island?
Yep.
And he didn't, did he?
No.
Best take your sea fish then, mate, hadn't you?
Well.
Oh, please!
Sea fish.
Have you got no shame?
I'm telling you, you said the first sea fish.
Have you got no shame?
You said the first sea fish.
You call that fish?
The Carey family soon has more to worry about than fishing. As Seventh-day Adventists, Gordon and Cassie have always had trouble accepting Ron's homosexuality. An incident in the kitchen brings things to a head.
Nasty, dirty, and revolting.
Guys, show yourself off on television.
I'm not showing myself off on television because I am not gay, and I don't go around feeling other people's other men's bottom.
She's jealous.
Jealous of what?
Ron wanted a cuddle or something, and he went over to Roger, and he was smooching him on the neck, out of face and with out there, and really having a good grip on his bottom though.
That's it, I'm leaving.
Good.
I don't want to work in the kitchen with a homophobe anyway.
I don't want to work in the kitchen with you either, Ron, so there, let's make two of us.
Well, good.
that sorted out then, haven't we?
That's it, I'm leaving. My neck will pass it.
So did I.
People still think what you're doing is nasty and
I don't care what you think.
feeling another man's bottom and having sex with another man is dirty. It says so in the Bible.
Bible. So there we have our first demonstration of open homophobia on Tarrant's Day.
See what goes on when you're in the kitchen. Never a dull day.
You know, if I called her something racist about her colour, you know, she'd be the first to call me a racist. But they can say whatever they like. They can say that their Bible says that my way of living isn't as good as theirs. I'm not as good as them. And they can get away with it.
In the Bible, it says it is wrong. God said it is wrong. And that was the reason why he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah.
I believe in God. I have a very strong belief. But the God I believe in loves everyone.
He goes to church, according to him, he reads his Bible. But if he's reading his Bible and he's still doing that, he cannot be reading the right part of the Bible.
A lot of the men here are very tactile. You know, it's affection. It wasn't meant to be. Now, why am I making an apology? I'm not apologising, even if it was sexual. Yeah, let's say it was sexual. So what? It wasn't, it was affection. But so what? If I want to feel up a man's arse, I will.
Ron is deeply hurt and offended that Cassie has said a homophobic statement, basically. And he wants the community to support him by saying to Cassie that that's not okay to do that.
It's just that the two of them don't seem to budge at all to give any leeway so that they can come to a consensus. It's a great shame. It's causing massive rifts. It's infectious. It brings other people down with them.
I just feel that it's going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be as what I can see now, the toughest confrontation that we will have in the island.
He has criticised her cooking. He said things, he thinks he's joking, I know he does because he's told me about it, but for Cassie, it's deeply offensive. He says, oh, we don't like all that foreign muck you serve up. And he tried some of her sweet potato pudding and spat it into the bin and said, this isn't fit for human consumption.
It's something that's been taken out of context and now used to justify her homophobic, bigoted remarks.
What really got me is the day before he was, according to him, he was joking, but he was saying about foreign muck and foreign this and foreign that. But yet, yesterday I done myself eat cake and there wasn't anything for him to eat, so he had to end up eating the foreign muck yesterday.
And I think people are afraid of making any criticism of the carers in case they are accused of racism.
A meeting is called to try and resolve the growing tensions between Ron and the carers.
I'm making a formal complaint of homophobic remarks, bigotry, threats of violence. I think Cassie seems to think that I flaunt my sexuality, and the truth is I was just being me. I wasn't flaunting anything, and I think that is the problem, that just me being me is the problem.
This is going to be like a lynching. You're going to... Listen, look, rightly or wrongly, this is how I feel, okay? I'm not saying I'm right, but that's how I feel. Let me get this thing out before we start talking about homophobia and all this sort of nonsense. I don't care what Ron does. Let me make that clear now. I do not care what Ron does, who he does it with, just so long as it's not me. And I do not want his homosexuality forced down my throat. And if a man should come to me with any sexual innuendos, I will deck him.
You've slightly strayed off the point because I had hoped that we would talk about the fact that Cassie and Ron had a problem in the kitchen. Cassie had made some homophobic remarks. This is the case that he's bringing against Cassie. What would you like to see happen to solve some of the problems?
Personally speaking, I would leave now without even thinking twice about it. I'm not jesting. I'm not the kind of person who make idle threats. I would leave now. If she was to say to me after this meeting, and I think she probably will, let's go. I've already have my letter of resignation in my pocket. I'd be sending it in immediately, and I'd leave. You know what I'm saying? Because I do not feel part of this community at all. And she's saying to me, well, we should stay, we should stay. But I'm saying, well, what is the point in staying? You know, when we're having so much pain and so much hurt, we are forever defending ourselves against one thing or the other. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sick of it. I am just sick of it. It's not worth it. I cannot see why all this pain and bad feeling is worth it. What are we going to stay here for the next 8 months for? To put up with more of this nonsense? And if you're saying this is something else? You know, one thing after the other, after the other, after the other is happening to us. What for? What is the point? I'm saying to you, let us leave this place. I have never been so unhappy in my life as I am here now. Never. Why are we here? We could leave. We could leave. We could leave today. If it was possible, I'd leave now.
I think the devil is just working particularly hard on us, trying to discourage us so we can leave.
I don't want them to leave, Cassie and Gordon. But I just want them to make the right decision for themselves.
We were told that Jesus Christ would have died for one person, and I'm not dying for anyone. So if it means coming here for a year and making a sacrifice and getting all this headache and going through all this hassle, that one person might find Jesus Christ, and I'm willing for that to happen. I really am.
I think the last 4 days here have been amongst the most magical days I've spent on the island. In total, it's been absolutely fantastic.
The pipe's at the lock. All Mike, Ben and Roger have to do is to persuade the water to siphon itself downhill to the steading.
Mike came up with this idea of putting the whole 100 metres into the lock, getting in with it and holding it all underwater so it fills up.
Sealing one end and lifting that sealed end out of the water and over the hump and down the hill.
Unfortunately, Mike's plan involves getting into the freezing water.
Ben and Mike started getting into their wetsuits, and I thought I'd upstage them.
Go on, then. Go on. And I couldn't let Roger upstage me by jumping in his pants, so I had to do the same. Okay, you can watch me drown now. Mike was holding two ends down. Bubbles were bursting out. You know, like when you fart underwater. They were coming up like that. It's great.
I haven't been deluded the night before, isn't it?
It was just, oh, what a giggle.
And sure enough, the water flowed, and it was an absolute delight to see.
It's been brilliant. It's been what I thought this whole project would be about.
And it was just so exciting that we'd done that all just, you know, the Castaway way.
Ben's final task is to connect the new supply to the system.
I think probably I put the things on the wrong way around. Maybe this should be the other way around. Now it shouldn't leak. Oh no. Perfect. Brilliant. Okay, please don't leak, Mr. Pipe. Maybe I shouldn't be a plumber. Okay. Oh, please work this time. Well, at least it's less.
That's it.
Brilliant. An hour trying to get that pipe connected. Great.
Other castaways are putting their energy into different campaigns.
Trish, cracking girl, she still won't marry me. Don't know why, but, you know, I'm doing my best. Got another 7 months, I'll wear it down, don't worry. If her mum's watching, 7 months to go, Mum.
Toby and Trevor have invited Tammy and Trish on a hot date. Dinner round at Toby's place. Music and flowers provided by Philly and Porag.
Flower for the lady.
Oh, it's special flower. It has a special scent.
Brilliant. What do the men have to do?
Look at the special centre.
A special centre for the...
Funny ladies.
It's got a condom in the centre. I didn't realise.
And here's an
Just look down.
We just thought we'd come up and tell you exactly the real,
the true story
of what happened yesterday. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Here's to
Guapa.
God loves a try and they try.
You just think they can apply you a drink and a bit of food and they can just have the wicked way with you.
They really went for it, didn't they?
cheap afterwards.
Used.
Yeah.
I felt really used. Tish, would you like to?
Oh, God! Trying to suck the toes.
How was your feet?
My feet are fine.
We were just trying to get our trousers off all night, weren't
all
we?
night.
What about when he had his trousers off?
Oh, guapa!
And they said they had a little something for dessert.
Want me to just get in there? Yeah?
Yeah.
But I'm going to be wary of all the island girls from now on, Trevor.
A1 for trying, F failure.
Thanks, boys. Damn good show, lads. It was a damn good show.
It was a cracking night, cracking night. Cheers, Toad.
Cheers,
Slange,
Trev.
mate.
Slange.
Slange.
Castaways are only allowed off the island on compassionate grounds. Ron's dog Charlie has been taken seriously ill, and it's agreed that he can take her to the vets on nearby Harris.
Chuck. Watch you don't slip on them rocks, Ron.
Bye, Charles.
If Charlie has to be put down, I can't imagine how Ron would feel and how we would cope with it.
I'm with Ron. My heart's with him. My thoughts are with him. I just hope he's going to be all right.
You come back now!
The islanders are beginning to prepare for winter.
I can't believe I'm digging mud. Like hairy mud as well, it looks really disgusting. I never actually even knew what peat was. Is that sad? Until I came here. Now I know it's this.
There's just masses of fuel here. There's masses of peat, quality peat. So I thought, well, look, why are we buying lots of fuel and, you know, we're sitting around having lots of fun. Why not have fun and dig our own fuel? Well, someone was quoting at the meeting yesterday that we needed £3,000 worth of fuel for the rest of the year. Well, the fact is that if we dug it out of the ground and lifted it off the beaches, we'd save £3,000. So it has provided a bit of impetus. I mean, I'd like it if it was slightly tidier. You know, this is sort of spread out over half an acre. And I think probably the average Western Islander would be horrified at the way we're doing it. But it's, you know, we're novices and we're having fun doing it.
I think we should burn Pete, because he's a bastard.
Over on Harris, the vet's verdict is bad. Charlie has terminal cancer. Ron spends his last moments with her before she's put down.
Charlie's dead, and I need Colin to build me a box to put her in to bury her.
You would have to have known. You would have to have known Charlie and seen us together as a team to understand it.
To Ron, Charlie was everything. He was a soulmate for the last 13 years.
I guess it would be like losing one of your children.
I'm glad he's burying Charlie here. I think, you know, what a beautiful resting place for her.
His idea of giving an animal freedom is personified in a place like this. It's the personification of freedom for almost everybody. So in that respect, she would have had the last few months of her life exactly as he would have liked her to.
Nearly everyone gathers to meet Ron off the boat.
My own responses are cool, fairly cool. I had a dog I was deeply attached to. It died. It got killed in a car crash. You know, somebody ran it over. I was mortified. I was absolutely devastated. I could feel for Ron and know exactly what it's about, you know. It is a really heavy thing.
Dear Charlie, you was a nice dog and you still are. You are the cleverest dog on the island. Your friend, love from your friend Natasha. Postbox?
Yeah.
Oh, Charlie's got postbox. Right to the next life.
So I can understand the need for a ceremony. I can understand the need for, particularly for Ron and for the children, you know. But it just seemed to be just a bit over the top. That's how it felt to me, anyway.
Maybe put the speedo down a little.
You know, about sort of almost a Lady Di situation of having to have the correct emotion, and you know, sort of an emotional conformity, and that's the sort of feeling I personally don't like. The wreath for me is very over the top.
There's a lot of emotional pressures that go on here, and I felt myself be more emotional here than I normally am. So I think that it was sort of an opportunity to bring out all those pent up and built up emotions, whether they be homesickness, whether they be whatever they might be.
I didn't go to the funeral. I couldn't hack that because yesterday was the anniversary of my dad's death, and I just wanted to steer clear of it. I did my own thing in the morning, went down to the sea, picked a few wildflowers, chucked them in, said something to myself, and I just figured that was it for me for the day. You know, I just wanted it dealt with, out of the way, a personal acknowledgement to myself.
I suppose we better take the spades back, otherwise Peter will start moaning.
6 months in, the island experience is making an impact on the castaways.
First big love affair on the island. Don't know if I should say this, but I'm going to have to, since it's video diary. Is that I fell in love with Scotland. I think it's fantastic.
I have no money here, which I absolutely love. No money worries, and no shops to spend the money in.
If suddenly a little hand came down and picked me up by the scruff of my neck and plonked me in Piccadilly Circus in London, I think I'd have a heart attack or a nervous breakdown. I don't think I could cope. Because you get so used to no noise.
Summer arrives, and the castaways are beginning to relax and enjoy the good weather. But for one person, there's too much play and not enough work. It's setting him apart from the community.
The community seems to constantly need a scapegoat. If it's not one person, it's another. You know, I can think of times it's been Ray, I can think of times it's been Ron, other times it's been Des. At the moment, it's Peter.
Pete's had a bit of a run-in, I suppose, is the best word, with a lot of the community. Expressing his views at meetings and swinging things round again to his perception of whether or not people work.
I feel that we made an agreement right at the beginning that a certain amount of you know, actual work, that is, actual hours are put in, everybody should do, and I just feel that in some cases, in many cases, that's not being adhered to.
There is a complaint, basically, that he works from 10:30 with an hour's break for lunch until 4, and nobody else does anything.
It's not about 10:30 to 4:30, it's about a certain degree of consistent commitment, day in and day out, week in and week out.
The long and short is he's got a complete bee in his bonnet about people, particularly who he perceives to be the youngsters, which is the likes of myself, Toby, Porrick, Ben, Philly, Tanya, Tammy, Trev.
I'm sorry, but you know, it's a boring old topic of conversation. But you know, some people say they don't work because other people don't work, and then the people that do get work get accused of making other people feel guilty because they do it. It's like a madhouse.
He seems to subscribe to the kick up the arse school of management, and I personally think it's one that doesn't work.
When you do a job, finish it, clear up.
Peter, I think you're absolutely pathetic, basically.
People here have got firm ideas, and they're not going to be talked round to believing that life should be lived the way he wants to do it.
No, so you didn't like it, but that doesn't make you right, Peter. Do you understand that does not make you right?
No, not.
Unfortunately, Peter, this is meant to be a democracy, not a dictatorship.
It's not a dictatorship.
I'm not the leader.
It's not. I don't want to be a leader. I want to lead this show.
Well, then stop going like that, then.
I don't.
You're in the wrong place because you keep acting like you are the bloody leader.
I'm not.
He has the unfortunate habit of believing that he's intellectually superior to just about everybody here. And his body language, his demeanour, the expression on his face, everything about it suggests that that's what he believes when he talks to people.
Ever since I've met you, you're on this plane as you think you are, and you do it. You don't do it with everybody. It's people you think are below that. You always say that back to me. I've seen you do it with other people, lots of people, and I'm not naming names. They know.
Why didn't you say what you were going to say originally?
Because I'm just annoyed with myself, so I don't want to say anything more to you. I think you just not worth it.
You are such a bully. He's just had Gwen in tears. Big bully. You want a man? When I stood up to you, you didn't like it, did you? You didn't like it, did you? Because we were being threatening.
Why did you stand up to me?
But you stand up to women. You're very, very good at bullying women. You want to bully somebody, Peter? You come and bully me. You come and bully me. If there wasn't women and children in this room, I'd throw this plate at you. Yes, I would.
Very useful contribution, Ron, as usual.
I've come across many people like that before. He hasn't a clue about the things I have done in my life. I think he thinks I'm just a mere little dinner lady who hasn't got an ounce of brain at all. And every time we have any discussion, I don't care what it's about, I will start to say, see, my trouble, I'll say it to anybody. I know what I want to say, but I've always had this trouble. It doesn't come out. All the words are there, whether you want to use your intellectual words or what, they're there. I know what they mean, but it doesn't come out. He knows that, he plays on it with me. And any discussion, if I want to say, he never allows, and before I've got it out, he says he knows what I'm going to say. He doesn't know what I'm going to say.
3 hours later, things have got much worse.
Gwyn wants to leave the island tomorrow because of you. At the moment, Gwyneth feels absolutely destroyed.
Gwyn's disagreements with Peter stretch back several weeks.
All I said was that night is if we make rules, We ought to draw a line and then we stick by them. And I said, I don't think Ron will abide by that because he's structurally likes breaking rules. Gwyneth wants to protect Ron, and I think Ron is going for broke. Ron is definitely pushing it as far as it will go to see what happens. And where I differ from Gwyneth is, for her, people first, rules second.
I don't think this is about the rule. We're not talking about.
So what's it about? An attitude then?
Yeah.
All right. So go on then. What am I doing wrong now?
And you're not. Well, I'm not saying it.
Come on, Patrick. Be honest. Be honest. You know, people shilly-shally around here.
This is what you do with Gwyneth. You might be intellectually on another plane, but give people like me chance to think. And Gwyneth, you're not. We're trying to say things and you keep butting in. You do it with Gwyneth. You've never done it with me. You get at Gwyneth when I'm never there.
I think I trigger some fear or something in her. She was in what was her first marriage was an abusive relationship. All right? And she projects the experience of that abusive relationship onto me because I raise my voice sometimes.
No, it's a load of cobblers, Peter.
Right.
So what do you think it is?
I'm male, I'm tall, I'm powerful in the sense that I know who I am.
And also you have the advantage of being good with words. So that is difficult for a lot of people because you can use words in a way that other people can't. I'm just trying to try and understand why a lot of people have, a lot of very different people have a problem with your personality.
I think there's an anti-intellectualism around in this culture of ours. I am never allowed to discuss abstract ideas. I'm never allowed to discuss anything philosophical because of the fear of triggering people's insecurities.
You don't make me feel insecure.
No. Well then why? But I do make some people feel insecure. I use the word. I remember in a conversation when Roger went to Stornoway, right? And I used in the conversation. I said, well, I think that's ex post facto rationalisation. I remember the phrase, right? And Roger said to me, oh, that's just fancy intellectualising.
Now I said, could you explain that? Because I felt that was inappropriate.
Right, but that's just how it's just I've had 40 years of reading and writing and stuff. That's the way I am. If that makes people insecure, what the hell am I supposed to do? Start speaking like a bricklayer or something?
It's the way you do it, Peter. It's the way you look at people. You look at people like you despise them. That's
all in people's imagination. I'm being told that I'm a bastard.
No, I'm trying to understand why Gwyneth is broken. I mean, this is terrible, terrible situation. Gwyneth wants to go home. She's saying Patrick's going to stay here. She's going to go.
I have no desire for anybody to leave any island whatsoever. I have nothing to do. You know, that's not what I'm here for. I don't know interest in leaving the island myself or anybody else to leave the island. If this is the people's feeling, you tell me what I'm supposed to do. Just tell me what I'm supposed to do.
Well, I don't know. I don't know the answer.
So what the hell am I supposed to do?
Both myself and Pat want to leave the island as soon as at all possible.
If I was at home and felt like this, I'd be in the nearest pub and I'd be pissed out my brain.
I got some coffee thrown over there, so
I don't know how much longer I can remain here.
And I'm bored with the trivia, and I'm bored with living here, and I want to go home.
It's all getting a bit nasty.